there, can we talk about Goro Majima? At first glance, the Yakuza video game franchise, or Ryuga Gotoku, like a dragon as it's known in Japan, appears to be Grand Theft Auto but Tokyo. But it really is anything but. It's an insane collection of games that, under its serious organized crime thriller, is a highly absurd and often hysterical game series grounded enough in reality to keep it from becoming full-on parody, and with enough heart and agency to keep you emotionally invested without becoming non-stop tonal whiplash. This is a game series that is fun, passionate, and absolutely outlandish. But I'm not interested in talking about the franchise, because at this point it's an 8-game series, and that's not including the remakes, the side game, and the side game that never got released in the US. I'm interested in talking about Goro Majima. While the main protagonist in the majority of the games is the stoic and morally righteous Kiryu Kazuma, one of the frequent characters he is often at odds against is the violent, impulsive, and morally questionable Mad Dog of Shimano himself, Goro Majima. Majima's role in the game fluctuates as they progress, going from Kiryu's nemesis to rival to eventually comrade. His character and personality a striking contrast to Kiryu's character, with his Captain Picard levels of stoic and righteousness. Majima has been a favorite character of mine since I started playing these games back in 2018, and I get 5 likes per video when I make a sweet $17 monthly on Patreon. If you want to support me on Patreon so I make $19 a month, click the link below. So this means I have no fan base and I can do videos on whatever I want because I'm not financially dependent on you dorks. Please subscribe to my Patreon. I will start making videos explaining popular algorithm-friendly things like Squid Game. Capitalism is bad. And what better way to analyze and break down the character of this wild and crazy man than by making something the YouTube algorithm loves? A top 7 list. Yep. We're gonna rank all of Majima's various wild and crazy outfits, learn what his outfits say not just about the culture of Japan, but also what they say about his own character arc and development as the series progresses, and maybe even have a little fun along the way. But first, what even is costume design? Well, it's how you dress a character in a show. And this is going to blow your mind, but in visual media such as movies, TV shows, and video games, costumes tend to act as shorthand or symbolism for a character. The idea of costume design is you can look at a character and without any diegetic commentary know something about them. Let's take Final Fantasy VII. Oh wow, look at her. She's wearing a lot of pink. That's a coded feminine color. Also a floral color. I wonder if she's connected to flowers somehow. Look at how flowy her dress is. I bet she's carefree, or at least uninhibited in her personality. Costume design can also be shown to demonstrate personal growth or change. Let's do Star Wars. Oh, look at that dude. He's wearing a lot of white. I bet he's innocent and wholesome. I bet he's just starting out on his great adventure to become a hero. Let's look at what he's wearing 3 movies later. Oh, wow. So I've never watched Star Wars in my life, but I bet he's seen some shit in the past few movies. This isn't just limited to elaborate science fiction or fantasy stories either. One of my favorite examples of good costume design is the contemporary show Breaking Bad, that puts a lot of thought into how their characters are dressed. My favorite example in this series is the antagonist Gus. When he's first introduced, he's in a lot of soft pastel colors often coded as non-threatening, even emasculating. Look at this dude, the show says. Can this dude be dangerous? I think not. What dangerous criminal wears soft yellow? Then, as the show progresses and we realize how scary and dangerous Gus is, the colors change. And this scene, that in my opinion is one of Gus's strongest scenes, now has him in black. Ha ha ha, the show seems to say. This man is dangerous. So, using my degree in costume design, which I have never used once in my entire goddamn life, we shall be ranking the wardrobe of Goro Majima, what these outfits say about him, his growth as a character, and also what it says about society. Let's go. Number 7. Ah yes, course, who could forget the iconic Majima Everywhere section of Yakuza Kiwami, in which you are accosted by Majima dressed as a Tokyo police officer. Oh boy, Emma, are you just going to talk about all your issues with the corrupt nature of the authoritarian state and police officers like you do in all your other videos? Yes. So, from my American perspective, it might appear that the police force in Japan is a lot less problematic than in the West. Japanese officers still carry guns, but due to strict ownership, gun violence is incredibly low in Japan. Crime itself is low in Japan, with homicide being 0.3 cases out of 100,000 on average, and as of 2018, there have only been an average of approximately 2 police-related deaths in Japan, compared to the United States, which as of this year, so I originally started to work on this video in March. I had to put it on hold due to a lot of personal stuff, and now I've returned to work on it in June, and from a Western perspective, cops in Japan come across as a lot more helpful civil servants than dog-shooting bullies, with their job often helping with directions, calling the wives of salarymen too drunk to get home, and helping school children cross the street. So, does ACAB still count in Japan? Akabu? Japan still struggles with laws protecting victims of domestic abuse, stalking, and sexual assault. Cops are more interested in harassing delinquent teenagers and homeless populations. Major street sweeps happen during the Olympics, forcing people of no permanent residence from areas they were living in, than helping victims of real crime. There are no laws in Japan that say a lawyer must be present for police interrogation, and you can be held for up to 23 days without charge or legal assistance in what's often solitary confinement. Japan also has strict laws in regards to drug use. Medical marijuana is prohibited. A 58-year-old man was charged with drug possession due to seeking out medical marijuana while battling liver cancer. Tourists can't bring their ADHD medication into Japan. Even celebrities caught with marijuana run the risk of becoming excommunicated in Japan, with their entire presence essentially scrubbed from Japanese culture and all their songs removed from iTunes. Compared to the creator of Rurouni Kenshin, who was charged with the possession of child pornography, was fined the equivalent of approximately $1,780 and was suspended for half a year. So despite what should be hilarious juxtaposition of crazy man Goro Majima dressed as a helpful protector of elderly and children, the complex and iffy issues of law enforcement in Japan make me hesitant to rank Majima's cop uniform higher. And that's why Cop Majima is number 7. Number 6. Despite all the years I've spent watching anime, I've only spent like a week in Japan tops, so there will always be cultural homages and aspects of Japanese media I might not necessarily get. So I very clearly remember playing Yakuza 0 for the first time, playing a very uptight and serious Goro Majima, deciding to play the karaoke game, and losing my shit when this scene happened. I got a really low score because I couldn't concentrate. I was just blown away by what I was seeing. What is this? What am I looking at? Why are they on roller skates? Now, for a lot of people, the answer is, who cares? Yakuza is a franchise where you had to fight a bunch of adult babies. Twice. Absurdity is as much a part of the Yakuza franchise as buff men pulling off their shirts to reveal elaborate tattoos for a climactic showdown. But what if I told you everyone's favorite idol Goro is inspired by the very real pop idol group Hikaru Genji? Outside of anime fans, the word idol itself isn't super well known in Western culture. While we understand the idea of a boy band or the concept of a manufactured group of talent, the actual concept of an idol is huge in Japan and incredibly intense. Talent agencies recruit young girls and teach them to dance and sing and market them as aspiring stars. And if you're going, then you're not wrong. These girls are recruited at a vulnerable age with a busy training and work schedule that keeps them strictly isolated from friends and family. How idols are portrayed in public is also strictly controlled, with many idols being prohibited from publicly smoking, drinking, or even dating. The job of the idol is to give the public a fun escape from their daily troubles and to sell dreams. And if you're familiar with Shan Strushi's video on parasocial relationships and you're still going, then you're right too. The idol industry's job is to manufacture parasocial relationships, one kawaii singer at a time. The economic bubble in Japan in the 1980s, when Yakuza 0 takes place, led to what was called the golden age of idols. This included boy idol group Hikaru Genji and their hit song Paradise Ginja, which which was performed on roller skates. Yakuza 0 does other homages to 80s music as well. Heartbreak Mermaid is clearly a reference to Wink's Subashi Nitaigyo, but 24-Hour Cinderella is such a perfect homage to the golden age of idols and the bubble economy of 80s Japan, where nothing could possibly go wrong. A temporary escape from the controlling and restricting life that Goro Majima finds himself in, which we'll touch on a little bit later. And that's why everyone's favorite idol, Goro, is number 6. Number 5. So, Kamurocho's number 1 hostess, Goromi, is an interesting one, because objectively, this is just Bugs Bunny shit. Haha, Majima is wearing a dress. He's using a feminine way of talking. How funny that somebody is violating gender norms. But once again, I want to read way too much into this and use Goromi as a way to explore gender nonconformity in Japan. While gender bending is ingrained in Japanese culture, from the onagata who played the female roles in traditional kabuki theater, and even playing female roles during the early introduction of film up until the early 1920s, to the all-female Takarazuka review, the concept of drag as an expression of identity can still be something that the day-to-day people of Japan still struggle to understand. LGBT rights in Japan can be a little tricky to sum up. While on one hand, same-sex activity is legal, the majority of Japanese citizens are accepting of homosexuality, and there are many openly LGBT politicians in office, Japan is one of the only countries in the G7 that does not recognize same-sex unions in any form. The right to transition itself is legal in Japan, but follows strict rules. One must be over the age of 22 in order to transition, unmarried if no children under 20, and must undergo both sexual reassignment surgery and sterilization, meaning that 1, many young transgender people in Japan will have the gender dysphoria of undergoing the wrong puberty before they can rectify this. And it also means that many trans people who are married, have young children, or understandably don't wish to be sterilized might find themselves stuck and prevented from living as their authentic selves. While Goromi herself is a gag, to Yakuza's credit, it has sympathetically portrayed transgender characters. Kiryu himself is shown to frequent Earth Angel, and Okama Bar, run by an openly trans mama named Ako, and is shown to be supportive when a trans woman confides in him. Yakuza 3's creator even removed an incredibly transphobic side quest in the Yakuza 3 remaster, saying, "Some things considered okay at the time are not as good as the current moral values." What I think fascinates me, though, is how fast the Yakuza fandom just completely disregarded any authorial intent this game had about the Goromi gag. There is a ton of Goromi fan art and a general celebration of the concept of Majima as someone confident enough in themselves to explore and mess around with gender roles. In terms of the actual design, the snake scales in pink is a bold choice. The only real reason I don't move Goromi further on up is because Majima's wearing a Party City ass wig.
Go back to Party City where you belong.
And that's why Goromi is number 5. Number 4. So this is where I start to leave behind the cultural and societal implications of Majima's attire and go into my useless costume design degree level. So full disclaimer, my first Yakuza game I played was 0. But in terms of the order that the games came out, not including Yakuza Dead Souls, Yakuza 0 is the 6th game to be released. So imagine being a devout fan of Yakuza, or just someone whose journey into Yakuza started at Yakuza Kiwami, and you are super familiar with the wild man that Goro Majima is, his look, his mannerisms, and your intro to him in Yakuza 0 is this.
申し遅れました。私、当店支配人の真島と申します。
Majima in Yakuza 0 is a man who is at the mercy of the high-ranking patriarch Tsukasa Sagawa, one of my personal favorite antagonists of the Yakuza games, played perfectly by Japanese character actor Shingo Tsurumi, and his costume design tells us all we need to know about him. His long hair tightly pulled back, his perfectly fitted suit and bow tie. Perfect for his job as a club owner where he is even-handed, professional, and excels at customer service. This Majima is a mad dog who is now leashed and controlled. The times when Majima is free to run around Osaka, his shirt is unbuttoned just to give him a little bit of freedom, but he's still stuck in that monkey suit. This is also fantastic for emotionally investing us into Majima's arc. Why is everyone's favorite weirdo Goro Majima like this now? What happened to him? Can he break free? What happens to Majima in this game to make him go from this to, well, this loopy bastard? And that's why Goro Majima's look in Yakuza 0 is number 4. Number 3. While not in actual costume design, tattoos or irazumi have a long history and association with not just the Yakuza, but also Yakuza the video game, with each one saying something about each character and their goals. Kiryu's dragon represents wisdom, protection, and power, all things that Kiryu represents himself. Nishiki's tattoo of a koi fish is based on the legend of a koi swimming up the Yellow River of China and turning into a dragon themselves, with Nishiki's desire to surpass his sworn brother Kiryu, while Ichiban's tattoo is of a dragonfish, symbolically suggesting that he can decide the man he wants to be. Majima himself is no exception. His tattoo is of the Hanya. Now, traditionally, Hanya are masks worn in no theater that represent a jealous and obsessed female demon. The mask represents one who is demonic and dangerous, but also sorrowful and tormented. And I find this really interesting. I honestly do not think the development route the games eventually take Majima was fully planned. As other YouTubers have pointed out, Yakuza Kiwami actually suffers from a lot of problems where it makes Majima a lovable rapscallion, but also has to canonly comply with the original game where he holds a woman hostage and kidnaps a child. But I find the tattoo very appropriate. Majima's introduction has him nearly beating his own subordinate to death. He is quickly shown to be violent and uncontrollable, and also chaotic. The jealousy aspects of the Hanya come out quickly as well when we see him take a knife for Kiryu. His jealousy that no one gets to kill Kiryu but him, but also, in a way, a jealousy of Kiryu's strength, both physical, but also in his conviction and sense of morality. As we learned in Yakuza 4, Majima experienced a deep and terrible loss, with not just being mutilated and exiled from the Yakuza, but also being unable to stop his sworn brother Taiga Sajima from being set up and sent to death row. And the guilt of knowing that Sajima spent 25 years thinking that Majima had abandoned him and left him to rot. Majima is a man who has been incredibly hurt, and as the old saying goes, hurt people hurt people. His Hanya represents not just his aggressive and unhinged nature, but also a painful past. And that's why Majima's Hanya is number 3. Number 2. I mentioned Breaking Bad earlier as a good example of contemporary costume design, and a really good example of this is the introduction of Saul Goodman. Saul shows up and you know exactly what kind of lore he is just by looking at him. Majima's default design has the exact same purpose. Look at this fucking guy. Goro Majima is a stark contrast to his rival Kiryu, who wears a neutral color palette in solid colors. Kiryu is stoic and strong. Majima is flamboyant, with a snakeskin jacket, leather pants, and gold chain. And as my script consultant pointed out, his amazing shoes. While in Japan, snake tattoos have a wide variety of things they represent in Japanese culture, from protection against illness or bad luck, to the Western audience, snakes are strongly associated with danger and conniving. As even the most high-ranking members of the Yakuza make it a point to cover up their tattoos, Majima even showing off his tattoos is another shorthand that he has very little regard for social norms, or even safety standards, given that his entire idea of workplace safety is just a construction hat. This man is a walking OSHA violation. Majima's character design says both everything you need to know about him and his relationship with Kiryu, and it makes a strong first impression, and probably why Majima continues to be such an iconic character in the Yakuza franchise. And that's why Goro Majima's traditional look is number 2. And finally, number 1. I'm sure at this point a lot of people are wondering why I didn't put Majima's main look at number 1, and well, because while I'm all for those first-hand impressions a good costume design can suggest, I'm even more in favor of some costume design that shows character development. And that's why my number 1 best Majima costume is... So, I love this look because it's a summary of how much Majima has changed as a character. As a man who Kiryu has now trusted and confided in multiple times, who has moved up in the Dojima clan. Majima is no longer kept on a short leash, but he's also no longer an unhinged maniac. He dresses well, he covers up his tattoos, but he still wears a red shirt showing his flamboyant and chaotic nature is still there. His iconic snake association being now a tasteful applique, on his eye patch. Majima's fancy suit shows up in Yakuza 3, the first in the series that, in my opinion, firmly cements him as an ally to Kiryu, and continues to make appearances as the series continues, with Yakuza 4 finally touching on Majima's past, and 5 focusing a huge amount on his relationship to his oath brother, Taiga Sajima. Majima tells Sajima in Yakuza 5 that all his newfound responsibilities have caused his fangs to fall out. But with his oath brother Sajima returning and getting his own family, by taking on these new responsibilities, Majima has been able to refocus his energy into, dare I say, more productive outlets.
今のの狂犬ってな、思ったよりずいぶんまっとうなこと言うんすね。
今日だけはな、その反動で明日から100倍暴れてるわ。
Every single fucking show now likes to talk about trauma because we as a society are realizing that maybe living through 9/11, 2 unfounded wars, 1 recession, and a pandemic might have taken its mental toll on a whole generation. And so we like to make sure that we have characters who do the same thing. Oh dear, do the gay pirates have trauma? Does Batman have trauma? Does Majima have trauma? I'm gonna say yes, and while there has been media from Japan that beautifully talks about the impact of trauma and the value that healing from it can be, the Yakuza franchise is not that kind of story. The fact that Yakuza is a video game about the seedy underbelly of the criminal world set in Japan, a country that still has many stigmas against mental illness, it's currently estimated that 2/3 of all people suffering from mental illness in Japan never seek professional help, means that we are never gonna get a Tony Soprano moment from Goro Majima. This dude is never gonna go to therapy or seek professional help. But him becoming an ally to Kiryu and Kiryu's found family has been his own way to work through all he's been through. He's calmed down. He's more focused. He's gone from Kiryu's adversary to rival to trusted comrade. Character development. And his change of attire is such a simple but impactful way to say this. Majima does continue to wear his OG outfit in other installments of the franchise, but this isn't so much a relapse into his past character so much as just it's an iconic outfit we all know Majima by. As I said earlier, you can look at Majima's default outfit and know everything about him, but Majima's black and red outfit you can look at and see how far this man has come. And that's why Goro Majima's black and red suit is ranked at number 1. Costume design itself is a great way to show off things about a character or the development they have gone through. For a series like Yakuza, that despite its gaining popularity in the West is still incredibly rooted in Japanese culture, the costume design can also give a Western audience a better understanding of this culture. The Yakuza series itself is a story against fighting systems, about living life on your own terms and learning to find true connection in a harsh and rigid world. It's about being good and righteous in a world that is not. And great characters like Goro Majima and his amazing range of costumes, thanks to Yakuza creator Toshihiro Nagoshi, who, if you look at him, clearly is a stylish dude, and he very much knows what he's doing with these outfit choices, is just another way this fantastic and weird and wonderful game conveys this. That's all for today. Thanks for letting me talk about Goro Majima. Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into this video. I'm really happy to finally get around to making it after so long. I'd like to, as always, thank my fantastic script consultant Saji, and also these amazing fan artists for letting me use their Guromi fan art. And of course, my big spender patron Kurt Schiller, who requested I say, oh man, I still haven't played the Yakuza games even though they have been recommended to me 1,000 times. Well, Kurt, I hope this inspires you to check them out. What's your favorite Majima outfit? Is there one I left out that you're very upset about? Leave a comment below. And while you're doing that, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to get a special shout out, name in the credits, and sneak peeks at my upcoming videos, then head on over to my Patreon, where as little as $2 a month can make all your hopes and dreams come true. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Take care, y'all. I'll be back soon.